Should I skip this place too?
I'm coming.
Okay.
Okay. Have you shown that of Segal? It's
Yeah. Okay. We are this Imoron. Okay, from Imoron to Sigal. Okay, we are Sigal now.
go back
Should I go back?
to Segal. Yeah.
We are Sigal
Yeah.
now.
Go to Segal.
We are at Sigal.
Yes. Okay. So Segal also says that classroom education or classroom management as what? It has the propensity, or students have that desire to always disrupt lessons. They always have that propensity or desire to disrupt the class. They will even plan, maybe you have done them something and they want to teach the teacher a lesson. So they will intentionally cause chaos in the classroom. They will do things that will annoy you, the teacher. So children always have that innate ability in them to disrupt the lessons. But what you, the teacher, can do to control that disruptive behavior in the classroom, then you are managing the classroom like that. So he made mention of socio-economic status of the students. The students' level, their characteristics such as socio-economic status. Maybe they get some of these traits from home or from the society or from colleagues they interact with, from peers. They learn it from there. So we should always be aware that students have that characteristics and that propensity to disrupt the lessons. So if the teacher is able to identify that and is able to find a solution to stop this disruption, then you are practicing classroom management. Please, let's go on. Please, let's move on. Director, please, let's move on. Okay. We also have another school of thoughts. My name Brophy, 2006, Lewis and et al. Lewis and others. They also say that for effective classroom management, it cuts across all subject areas and not just one subject. The principle of classroom management cuts across all subject areas and not just one subject area. So maybe you will say that when you are having science practicals that the students would stay, but there are other subject areas that these you need to bring in all the things you can to make the lesson conducive. Sometimes students fear maths. So if your students fear maths and you want to teach maths and you see them reacting in some way, what are you supposed to do to make the students love the subject? So a friend was telling me that he never liked mathematics until he completed school, because there's always a teacher who always insult them and would tell them, and you even curse them, you will never understand mathematics. You will never. So he puts that fear in them and make the subject look very difficult. But until he met a teacher at the training college, and that teacher was able to help him to understand and love the subject. So if we portray certain methodology in the classroom, that makes the lessons very fearful, or the subject looks very challenging or difficult for the learner, they will never like it. So whatever method we employ to make the subject lovely for the learners and not like a kai for them, but they will love the subject, then you are practicing classroom management. That is the concept of classroom management. Please, let's go on. When I'm done, we'll open the window for questions. So you can write down your questions, then we'll open the window for questions because of our time factor. Okay, so please, let's go. We have a lot to discuss, so director, please help me. So the classroom management has been simplified here, saying that classroom management is a process by which teachers and school educators create and maintain appropriate behavior of students in the classroom setting. So all the process that teachers and then the school will take through to create and maintain appropriate behavior of the students is simplified as classroom management. Please, let's go forward. Please, let's go forward. Okay. Another definition of classroom management is the methods and strategies an educator uses to maintain a classroom environment that is conducive to learner success or student success and learning. So all the strategies, all the methodologies that we employ or we use in, oh, don't you see that I'm in class? So all those that the methods and strategies we use to create a conducive environment is simplified as classroom management. Now, why do we need to learn this subject? Why the need for classroom management? Okay, for time factor, we'll just brush through. I'll call one participant to read the bulletin for me. Go and bath. Go and bath.
Should I read? Should I read?
Bathing. Yes, please, you can.
The purpose of implementing classroom
Please, you
management
can.
strategies is to enhance free social behavior and increase students' academic engagement. That is, that statement was given by the name we are seeing over there. And then the second one was, or is the negative effects of
To enhance pro-social behavior.
And the second one is the negative effects of corporal punishment is making Ghanaians particularly more and more committed on the need to bring an end to its practice in Ghanaian schools.
Okay, thank you very much. So Emma and Saboni says that there is a need for classroom management because it will enhance student pro-social behavior. And I'd like to ask, what is pro-social behavior? We enhance pro-social behavior and then increase students' academic engagement. So when we maintain classroom management, we know that there are some behaviors that society abhors them as misappropriate. So see fighting as a problem, immoral acts, or something that is not acceptable in their society. So in the society, if they frown at a particular behavior and you see your learners putting up that behavior, you need to manage the class to enhance that, to make sure that they are able to learn the acceptable behavior in the classroom, and you enhance them so that when they go out to relate with people, that socialization, if they're able to meet and interact with people, they will exhibit the acceptable behavior. There are some students, they don't see insulting adults as a problem, or calling names and making fun, teasing people, as someone has earlier on mentioned. So if the learner they don't see it as a problem. Even some schools here, we have KG students who like casting spell or insulting people, and they curse people. KG students, they curse people, and they don't see it as like they enjoy doing it. They don't see it as a problem or something that is very bad. So when some parents who they keep on insulting their words and cursing them and that, so they pick it from home. But when they come to the school, we, the managers of the classroom, have to help them understand what they are doing is bad. Some parents, they don't care. The child will be doing something, they will be rather praising the child instead of correcting the child. They will rather praise the child. So when they come to the school, we have to make sure that these behaviors that are unacceptable in the society are corrected, and then we enhance the correct ones, the good ones, for them to be able to interact well with people without being, what do we call it, where do not crime rate, without bringing social vices or whatever into the community. All right. And we also went on to say that corporal punishment has a lot of negative effects. I once had a teacher where I was posted first. He was cane a learner, and unfortunately the cane broke and hit a learner who was standing by observing the incident. It went straight into the eye and hit the learner's eye. They have to operate and move that broken stick or the speck in the learner's eye. The teacher has to face the law. And so all these negative effects of corporal punishment is making us committed. We will learn about positive discipline when there is time. So due to this, we have to learn about ways to manage our classroom without the use of corporal punishment, without the use of, without just controlling the learners and disciplining them, but whatever we would do without discipline and without punishment or corporal punishment to make a conducive environment is why we are here today. So we'll learn about styles that we can implement in the classroom. Someone also mentioned about components. We'll learn about positive discipline tools from GES that we can implement. So thank you very much. Let's go on. You can write down your questions, and when the lesson is over, you ask us. Okay, please, let's go on.
The next page is page point 3.
The writer, please, let's go. Am I actually?
Number 3 says that it will show very soon. I'm reading. The Ghana Education Service is implementing a package of interventions aimed at making all basic schools child friendly. That's point 3. Is it showing now?
Your line is not clear too.
Okay, let me take it again. Is it showing on the screen now? Number 3, the Ghanaian Education Service, that is GS, is implementing a package of interventions aimed at making all
Child
child
friendly.
friendly.
Okay. So
Get sponsor. Get sponsor, mute yourself. All right, let's move on. Let her continue. All right. Janagwe, please, are you online? John, are you with us? All right, Madam Gladhart will join us very soon. I think her link wasn't favorable and she's out. Let me check. Please kindly. Okay, Madam Gladhart is with us. Please continue for us, Gladhart.
Okay, so as I earlier on mentioned that some teachers will make less some subjects difficult for learners to like. GS is planning this intervention package so that our schools will be child friendly, our classrooms will be child friendly. And this is what we call the positive disciplinary tool that they have brought. So we'll learn about it in a jiffy and then we'll know what. So we are bringing this news to the teachers through this course so that teachers will be aware of what GS wants us to do to make our schools and our classrooms child friendly. So we'll look at this intervention package. Okay, and someone also made mention last when we're delivering this same topic.
Okay.
All right, so some more.
Your phone is disturbing you. Right. It's actually on the screen.
Okay, so how equip our teachers to implement effective classroom management? The due from studies or from surveys that they made, it's they've realized that teachers are not well equipped with skills to implement classroom or disciplinary measures. We are not for there is a need for us to bring this topic to the doorsteps of teachers so that we can be well equipped with skills and ways or methods to implement disciplinary measures in our class. And most teachers are not even aware the GES positive disciplinary tool. So INCOPS has taken it upon themselves through the initiative of NTC to bring this knowledge to teachers so that they can have that skills to be able to implement disciplinary measures. And GS has done this with the support of UNICEF. Please, let's go on. Director, please, let's move on.
Classroom management styles.
Okay.
Classroom management styles.
Okay. Classroom management style. Since we all have the slides, I will just make mention of we have a lot of them, but the most and the popular ones that we have come across are 4. They are basically 4. And then the authoritative, the authoritarian, and then the uninvolved, and then all the indulgence, the permissive styles. We have 4 of them: authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, indulgent type of teach or style leadership, leaders dividing them and placing them at top for the y-axis and then the x-axis. And then their characteristics have also been spelled out. Please, let's go back to the diagram. Please go back a step. Mr. James, let's go back. Yeah. Okay, so we can all see the characteristics of the authoritarian. Say that the authoritarian always gives punishment, is autocratic, and is very rigid with his rules. The authoritarian will always say, because I said so. Because I said so, you have no excuse, or you have no say. I have the final say. He's very direct, and then all his activities are well structured. And then he gives rules. Always say, I am the boss. Then we have other characteristics and of the authority, disobedience, and that's a classroom. A teacher who is authoritarian, there is always obedience by the learner. You must obey before you complain, do before you complain, or you must abide by the rules. Then the authoritative is very assertive, is supportive, rules, is democratic, of regulation in the class. Learners approach the teacher or we use the teacher in this context, the facilitator in the classroom. Learners approach the facilitator. So there are guidelines as to how to do things in the classroom so that the learners can follow that and do things on their own. This is authoritative style. Then we also have the
I don't know what that line is disturbing her. Let me check.
okay, sorry for that.
Okay, move on.
Okay, where have I reached?
Please, can you summarize the classroom management styles for them to ask questions? 10 minutes to go back.
Yeah, that's what's
Good.
okay. So the authoritative, we have the characteristics, the uninvolved is distant, uninterested in the learner's progress, whatever is going in the classroom, it doesn't show concern, it's neglectful, and that. Then we also say the permissive style of the classroom management is no guidelines are given as in the authoritarian. The authoritative gives guidelines. And then we say that there is non-directiveness. There is over-involvement in the class, sometimes indulgent, lenient, and we'll say you are the boss, not I am the boss, as we can see in the authoritarian. So all these are simplified in the next slide, the characteristics. We have simplified them, but this one is just a summarized version of the leadership styles we can have. So we are saying that you can be one of these, or you can all are accepted. But depending on your classroom or the learners you are having, today you can, or the subject you are teaching or the topic you are teaching, you can decide to be authoritarian for the first moment and switch to authoritative the next moment, and switch to permissive the next moment, and switch to the uninvolved or the indulgent the next moment. So depending on the type of learners you are having, the environment in which you find yourself, the topic or whatever you are going to teach, you can be one of them. But one psychologist by name Diana, she says that all are preferred, but the most preferred one is the authoritative style of leadership or style of management is most preferred than the others. But looking at the learners we are having, you can choose to be one of them, but the best of them all is the authoritative style. Okay, so I am done, Mr. Jane.
So it's time for questions and answers. It's time for questions and answers. Okay. Before we break. And then after this break, let us discuss the questions and answers in the platform. We'll continue tomorrow. So questions and answers, please. Mr. Atta, move on. Ask your question.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please, the uninvolving, does it have any positive impact on the classroom or on the children with the uninvolving? It looks as if that one is quite negative, but I heard you saying that all are preferred, but the most preferred one happened to be the authoritative, but I don't see the uninvolving to be quite positive.
Okay, thank you very much. You've asked the whole class, so let's share ideas before I come in. Any idea from the participants? Okay, Mr. John Agbe, my co-facilitator. Co-facilitator, Mr. John Agbe.
Yeah, good evening, one and all. And sometimes, depending on the situation at hand, let's say, some learners, they want attention to misbehave, if I may say so. Sometimes when they are doing something, the more you talk about that issue, the more they will do it. So uninvolved in the sense that you have seen the dead misbehaving. At the moment, sometimes you decide as if you've not seen it. And you see that because that learner is saying that you are not giving that, he wants to elicit some attention from you. But because you are not doing that attention, then the learner will call that, even the teacher is not giving me that kind of attention, and he will stop. So it's more or less like a blend of all of these styles. One style cannot be used all the time. You need to sometimes vary, depending on the situation at hand, because our learners just want attention to misbehave. So if you try also to always respond to that, what the learner is doing, then it keeps on repeating the same thing. But sometimes when you turn a blind eye, you see that the learner also, then you will just turn back. But of course, sometimes you turn a blind eye, there's still the situation is still being done by that learner, and therefore you have to use another style, maybe being authoritative by shouting or by using any other means, any other punitive measure. So that's a little that I wanted to put across. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's great. Thank you very much, too. Any other? Any other? Okay, as my co-facilitator has rightly put it, I made mention that all the styles accepted, but the most preferred is authoritative. And all of them have their advantages and disadvantages. So because they have their advantages and disadvantages, you have to, you have to look at the situation at hand or the condition at that particular time. Then you know which particular style that when you implement, it will yield results for you, or it will bring the learners under control. So you need to know what you are doing. You need to know your learners and what they want, and then know which one to implement at which particular time. So you can switch to any of them depending on the situation at hand. Mr. Paul, please, I hope your question is answered.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you too. Yeah. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, Mr. Osei.
We have less than 1 minute to go. So let's hurry
Mr.
up.
Patrick Osei.
We'll come back. We'll continue tomorrow. When we break, we won't come back. We'll continue tomorrow. We have less than 1 minute to end the session. So ask your question.
Yes, Mr. Osei.
I will adopt or
We can't hear you. Your line is not good.
it will be appropriate to adopt any of the management style.
We can't. Pardon. We can't hear you, and the time is also going. Yes.
I said I wanted to find out if it will be appropriate to use any of the management style depending on the situation at a particular point in time.
I don't know if we had listened to us. Someone even asked that question, and we made